So, good evening everyone. I, Dr. Shilpi Chauhan, founder and president of Saksham Society. So, today we are here to organize a national level workshop on how to make organized by Saksham Research Forum in association with Shodh Kanpur, and I heartily welcome to our speaker of the day, Dr. A. Arun Kumar ji. And before not wasting too much time, I would like to introduce our speaker. Dr. A. Arun Kumar is an associate professor and assistant dean student activities in the ICFAI Foundation for Higher Education, Hyderabad. He has published several papers in Scopus, ABDC, SSCI and ABS rated journals. He has been awarded Best Teacher in IFHE for the year 2024. He is also an editorial board member of reputed journals. So I heartily welcome to invite you as a speaker to deliver your session on how to make a research poster. I request you, sir, please share your opinion and grace us and our audience. Over to you, sir.
At the outset, I thank Saksham Society and Shilpi Chauhan madam for giving me this opportunity. So today we are going to discuss about how to make a good post presentation. First of all, first we'll discuss about why poster is important. Why this? What is the role of poster in academia? So most of the times, what will happen if we are going for any conference, seminar, or symposia? There is a proper schedule. Based on a proper schedule, organizers wants to organize all the activities. In that, sometimes what will happen, they'll ask you to present the paper. So if time permits, they'll ask everybody to present their views and papers in the conference, conference, symposia or seminars. Or otherwise, what will happen in conferences, there is a short span of period, like 2 days or 3 days. Within 2 days or 3 days, as an organizer, they have to conduct the sessions as per the schedule, and they have to take care about all other activities. So due to time constraint, most of the times they'll ask post presentations. So always a post presentation will helpful to the organizers, because with the help of post presentations, they'll ask the authors to present themselves within a stipulated time period, like within 5 minutes, or within 5 minutes, within 10 minutes, like that they may ask. So always this poster presentation will helpful to the organizer and helpful to the presenter. Sometimes what we may feel as a research, we do a lot of research, we conduct regular research. Sometimes we don't get a time to present our work. We also disheartened and also feel that we work for so many months or so many days. We have not yet a proper time to present our work. Because of these kind of feelings, people may get hurt. So for those kind of situations, most of the times in symposium conferences, people will ask to post presentation. So in as
है
per
तुम बरसना मत
the
मारो यार.
मैंने तो मत मारा कि हर चीज में तो मक्खियां पड़ रही हैं.
conference or symposia, poster is a visual presentation of your work. So normally it's a visual representation. What you are thinking about
Not
your
many
work.
people.
You are going to explain
बाहर जाओ.
in a particular way, in a proper proforma, in a proper way. So in a poster, you can say what are your objectives, what kind of methodology you have used, what is your work. All those things you may explain in a short period as well as in a proper manner. So always this poster presentation engage the audience in a conversation about your research. What was your research? See, for example, I want to tell you about a particular work. You have conducted a particular work about Indian universities. There is an Indian knowledge system nowadays. Everybody is talking about Indian knowledge system. If you want to know about knowledge sharing practices in Indian universities, this is your topic, for example. So if you want to conduct a study on knowledge sharing practices in Indian universities, this is your work. You have decided based on academic literature, based on thorough literature search, you have decided this topic. Based on thorough literature, also you have decided, you have identified your objectives. Based on thorough literature search, you have identified objectives. Based on that, you have decided your hypothesis. So later on, you will go for what kind of methodology will be useful or will be useful for the study. Then you will go for your presentation of your work. After completion of all these things, you will come to a conference. You are not getting an opportunity to present your paper in a oral presentation. Then similarly, you will get a similar kind of presentation, that is post presentation. So for this work, how will you present? Say in poster, first of all, you will decide that you will mention your title, then objectives, etc., etc., methodology, hypothesis, findings, policy implications, recommendations, conclusion. All these things you will explain in your poster. Always poster conveys the purpose of the work. The purpose of the work, and always it will give a snapshot. You can say snapshot that can be easily understand at a glance. So always it will give a snapshot. When we are observing one poster, we come to know, at a glance we will come to know what are their objectives, what are their findings, what are their recommendations, what are their methodology, what is their methodology, what are their hypotheses. All these things will get to know. And because of these reasons, people will go for post presentation. And why this poster is important in a symposium conference? First of all, it will summarizes complex work visually. Right, in presentation, see, if you go for a paper presentation, in that you will discuss about your hypothesis, objective, and findings. Sometimes if you will get a more time, if you will focus on only findings and what are your findings, and sometimes you may compare your finding with others if your time will pass. So in research poster, as a person you have to present it your work. So it will give visual impression. Always it will helpful to the viewers, or we can say participants. So within 1-2 minutes, they'll observe visually, they'll understand your work. Because of that, most of the times, I can say in social sciences, people won't prefer post presentation, but if you go for science, engineering, other backgrounds, or technology, most of the times they won't get maximum time to ask each and everybody's person's work. See, if anybody is conducting any conference or symposia, they'll get a lot of papers. Nowadays, because of COVID, people are preferring to come to the conferences, because nowadays all the conferences are offering credit mode, we can say. So most of the times before COVID, people used to come over there, people used to attend the conference, they have to present their work physically. So there was a huge competition between presentation, post-presentation, oral presentation, etc. etc. Because of that, mostly in science and technology and engineering aspects, disciplines, they used to ask few people to present their work, and oral presentation, they want to give opportunity to few people to present their posters. So always in a post presentation, usually it will give impression, and usually they can understand what is there in their work. And also there are components in research poster. See, there are components always in scientific posters. They follow some structure. First of all, what is their title? So always if you go for research publications also, they'll ask your title precisely or concisely. Your title should be still clear in nature. Otherwise, what will happen? See, if you write down etc. etc. consumer preferences, etc. 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 reference to Andhra Pradesh or Telangana, if you write like that, people may get confused. Sometimes what will happen, because of your title also, most of the times people will accept your, I can say in research publications also, your title should be crystal clear, your title should be clear and concise. You have to convey the message, what is there in work. Just now we were discussed about knowledge sharing practices in Indian universities. See, the title itself is showing that we are going to discuss about only knowledge sharing practices. Nothing is there, right? We are clearly talking about knowledge sharing. We are not talking about knowledge creation. We are not talking about knowledge management practices. We are not talking about leadership qualities. We are not talking about any other aspect. Title should be clear and concise for research work and for post also, research post also. Like knowledge sharing practices in Indian universities. Here we made that we are working on knowledge sharing practices in Indian universities. So whether we are conducting this research in state universities, central universities, that is further we'll discuss about all those aspects. But in a sentence, in a particular title, in a particular statement only, we are saying that we are saying clearly, we are stating clearly that we are discussing about knowledge sharing practices. We are not going to share any aspect. We are not going to discuss any aspect. So always your title should be clear and concise. Based on that, people will understand this title, this topic is related to this particular aspect. The next component is abstract. Always based on your abstract, will understand. It's a brief summary of your research. In abstract, you have to write down
मुझे काम दिया
one
हाथ
or two lines about your work. For example,
एक गिलास पानी दे हाथ धो के दियो
you are talking about.
देख जग में रखा है उसमें से दे दियो
So, in one line, the study focuses on knowledge sharing practices in Indian universities. Within one line, you have to mention. After that, you have to mention what kind of methodology you are following. I can say we are following primary data. What kind of methodology we are following? What kind of data we are using for the study? So we can say based on primary data or based on conducted survey. You have to mention clearly. Then what are your major findings? You have to mention in the abstract. What is the major findings? See here in Indian universities, 90% of the people are sharing their knowledge. Only 3% of the people are hiding their knowledge because of so and so. Like that, you have to mention clearly in your abstract. First one is why you are conducting this study. Second one is what kind of methodology you have followed for this study. The third one is what are your findings. You have to mention in the abstract. And fourth one is what are the policy implications. See, is it helpful for the policy? It is good or it is helpful for the policy. You have to mention these are the policy implications of the study. Then one or two lines you have to mention about your conclusions. What are your findings? What are your conclusion of the study? So in the abstract you have to mention all these aspects. Then once they read your abstract, then they will come to know about your study. Next component is introduction. So here you are going to discuss about what is your research question. What is your research question and what context we are discussing, what context we are talking about. We can say most of the times what will happen when we are writing an introduction part, they forget about research question, they'll knowledge management, how it is related to knowledge sharing, what are the components of knowledge management, like that. But if you are a good researcher, you'll see your research question, that's it. Based on so and so, based on existing literature, based on previous work done by so many authors, we are conducting this study. Like that, you have to mention clearly. You have to mention clearly that this is my research question. In what context also important. Sometimes what will happen, knowledge management practices of Indian universities. It's a vague topic and it's a vague subject. So in knowledge management you can discuss about knowledge sharing, knowledge creation, etc. All these things will come. So if you are a good researcher, you have to discuss about only one thing. What is your research question in what context is important. And another component is methods, how the research was conducted, what kind of methodology. Is it based on primary data? Is it based on secondary data? What is your sample size? And what kind of tools you have used? Why you have used? All these things you have to mention it clearly. Normally in sciences, in social sciences, they will mention I have followed random sampling method, conducted survey, systematic literature, or otherwise, etc. They will mention. So for sciences, most of the times they will mention what kind of methods they have used, what kind of machinery, what kind of techniques, structural SEM, EEM, all these kind of methods they have used for study. Like that they have to mention. In post also, in methods, you have to mention what kind of research you have conducted, how how the research was conducted, why you have conducted, why you have chosen the particular methods or particular methodology also you have to mention. And most of the times what will happen, people will mention their methodology, people will mention their primary data, secondary data, interview method, etc. etc. They don't mention about what kind of, how many people have suggested this methodology, how many people have conducted on a similar line. All these things they will miss. But if you go for a particular or standard papers or standard post presentations, you have to mention, you have to give the references for the methodology also. And next component is results. Here, if you will observe this poster, you can use any kind of graphs, tables, visuals. Through different methods or through different tables, graphs, visuals, you can present your results. And most of the times people will, what people will do, they will mention each and every point. Through bullet points also we can write our results. Otherwise what will happen, it will look like a people may feel that how we read all these findings, we don't bother about all the findings. You have to mention it in a bullet format. Through graphical representation you have to present your results. That would be more useful and more helpful for the scientific research post. Then again conclusion, next component is conclusion. In conclusion also you have to mention about what is the summary of your work. What are the findings within a short form? Within a short form, you can write down about your summary would be the best idea. Otherwise, if you write 2 paragraphs, 3 paragraphs, people don't have much time to read your conclusion. They don't want to waste their time, I can say. Simply if you write down precisely or concisely or clearly within 1-2 lines or 2-3 lines, you go for science and technology. You will write down your findings in 5 bullet points or 5 lines or 6 lines. That would be better. Otherwise, what will happen? People don't have much time to read your conclusion paragraphs and paragraphs. And another aspect is you have to mention the future directions. Most of the times what will happen, based on your future directions, you may work on. Sometimes you will cover only particular aspects. You will leave other aspects in a particular subject or a particular context. Based on your future directions also, people may work on. And references also, you need not to put all the references. Most of the times what will happen, they'll keep each and every aspect in the poster. Sometimes for references also, they'll take some particular area. They'll mention each and every reference. That is not required at all in research poster or research scientific poster. What are the key citations? See, for example, we have discussed something in methodology. You mention those key citations. Something you have compared with your results with some person. You mention those key citations. That would be enough. And in conclusions and etc. Also, you have mentioned somebody's name. That would be sufficient. You need not to mention each and every one, every citation, every reference in the citation. So key citations are required. No need to go for 1 to 100. What are the key citations are there in the particular aspect or particular finding or particular methodology or particular conclusion or particular policy implications? You have to mention those key citations. That's it. And acknowledgement, this is important. Always you have to mention your funder and collaborator. Acknowledgement also necessary. This is a compulsory component in presentation. This is compulsory for poster presentation. And another important aspect is designing the poster layout. Sometimes people may feel that what kind of poster would be helpful for their work. Sometimes people will put a lot of information in their poster. It won't look nice. It will look like a clumsy, and it will look like a as usual normal paper. So always designing the poster layout also important. How much space you are taking for the introduction, how much space you are taking for the methodology, how much space you are taking for the other aspects like results and discussions, what kind of methodology, conclusions, references, acknowledgement, all these things are also important. In a poster layout, always a poster will start logically from left to right. So if you are making a poster, left side you have to mention your abstract or introduction. See, most of the times what will happen nowadays, you will observe, most of the time they won't mention their abstract. But it is necessary. At least 1 or 2 lines also required. Based on that only, based on concise abstract only, people will come to know. If you go to introduction part, people will think over differently. So you have to mention your abstract. Always the poster layout starts from left to right. First you have to mention about introduction, then methodology, methods or techniques, then analysis, data analysis and interpretation. Then if you want to mention policy implications or implications of the study, then conclusion, then future scope, then references. All these things are required. So most of the times people will use columns or boxes. If you observe in left side poster, they've clearly included particular poster size, and also they've taken columns. So in first column or in first column they have mentioned about introduction, then second they discussed about overview. I can say graphical representation of the data. So most of the times in poster presentation, graphical representation of data are we can say visual representation will helpful for the presenters. Through visualization, they can explain. So, and also another important aspect is ensure balance between text, images and figures is also important. Sometimes what will happen, they'll focus on only figures or images. They don't bother about text. They can feel that if somebody will come, I will explain. I don't bother about text. This is not good. Always you should maintain a balance between text, images and figures. So based on this, people will feel comfortable and people will easily understand your poster. What is your topic, what is your objective, what is your methodology, what is your conclusion, what is your policy implication, what is your references, acknowledgements, etc. etc. So always we have to ensure that we have to maintain a balance between text, images and figures. Then choosing the right font also important. See, again, if you'll observe this poster, they have followed same font for each and every column. Correct? If you'll observe, they have followed each and every. If you'll observe each and every column, they have mentioned the same font, same thing. So there are some font guidelines for choosing the right fonts. first one, most of the people will use Times New Roman and Calibri for the post presentations, and because of it is always they'll mention their titles in a bold because they want to know. Also, they'll see that they'll ensure that readable from a distance. See, from different distances also they can read it. See, for example, if we can say from this place to another place, from this place to 2 meter or 3 meter, like that you have to focus on different formats or different fonts. Title font size is important. Then heading font size, then body text font size, then different font sizes we have to use. Most of the time what will happen, people will focus on text. Sometimes what will happen in introduction they will use different font, and in abstract they will use different font, and methodology they will use different font, and references, acknowledgements, conclusions they will use different fonts. So don't do like that. Or to follow proper font for each and every structure, each and every component, you can see. In abstract, if you are using Times New Roman 72, you have to use Times New Roman 72 for all the components like abstract, introduction, review of literature, methodology, data analysis and interpretation, policy implications, conclusion, references, acknowledgements. All these things you have to use same font. There is no change in any component. You have to use proper font for each and every component. You have to use same size. You can see same size also you have to use. Then next one is what kind of visuals would be impressive in post presentation. See, most of the times people will use based on their convenience. For example, I can say if you are going for data visualization or data presentation, most of the times people will go for graphs and charts, bar diagrams, etc. etc. And especially in sciences, technology and engineering, they use their own graphs like SEM graph, temp pictures, etc. etc. So like that, always using effective visuals is important. Based on your work, you have to use different kind of work, different kind of bars, charts, etc. etc. And always you should focus on high quality images. Sometimes what will happen if you take a picture with the help of your mobile, the clarity, always the quality will go for a quality, won't come properly. You can zoom it, and again there is a problem in there. Always for post presentation, people will ask HD images, because with the help of HD images, picture will come as usual, as it is. Otherwise, what will happen if you share with your mobile? Again, there will be issue with pictures or images. So, if you are conducting a good research, again you have to take care about your pictorial presentations also. If you take your pictures with a high resolution camera, that would be sufficient, that would be helpful for your research. Otherwise, what will happen? Quality will miss, and images won't look nice in a poster. So based on that, based on your post presentation, based on your poster also, people won't give much preference to your work. So if you have done a good work, you have studied hard, if you have done if you have conducted a good work, then there is no use. You have to focus on your visuals also, high quality images, high quality pictures. You should focus on high quality images, pictures also important. And sometimes what will happen, people will put a lot of pictures. That is also not good for the poster presentation. That won't help. People may think that if I can if I can include a lot of pictures, based on pictures, they will understand thoroughly, they will understand and they will price our work. Like that people can think. But most of the times you have to focus on what is required and what is not required for your study also. If you are focusing on your study, what is required for your methodology? In a pictorial form, if you put one picture, that would be sufficient. Otherwise, for methodology, I will go for one pictorial diagram, and also I will go for bar diagrams. I will go for different kind of pictures that won't look nice. Avoid excessive visuals. So if you are adding some image, if you are adding any image to your work, that should be added value to the work. Otherwise, what will happen? People don't bother about your work. People will comment on your work. You have to know about which picture is important, which picture is not important for your poster presentation. So as a researchers, you should focus on these aspects, and color schemes and backgrounds are also important. See, sometimes people will use multicolors, right? Title should be in this color, and the abstract should be this color, background should be in a different color, right? So it won't look nice, it won't give a proper, it won't serve a proper purpose. Use only 2 to 3 colors. Avoid n number of colors. Use 2 to 3 colors. That should be in a natural way. Then avoid distracting backgrounds. Sometimes people may think that in a background we'll keep our laboratory, or we will keep our we will keep our department name, department logo, like this. You have to avoid those distracting backgrounds. If you want to keep your department logo, if you want to keep your university logo, you keep aside, left side or right side, or below the poster or above the poster, you can keep. Most of the times people may think that we are representing from so and so university, because of that we have to put the background of the university photo or something. Don't put those kind of backgrounds. Please avoid distracting backgrounds. So if you will present your poster, if you get a prize or if you get an appreciation from the people, that would be more enough than putting some distracting background behind your poster. And also colors also, you have to choose light colors and simple ones. I can say white background should be better than all other colors. White background, you can put white background. You take other colors, one or two colors, that would be better for your poster. And also ensure high contrast between text and background. So sometimes what will happen, they'll select similar color for the background, similar color for the text. That won't look nice. People can't read your proper work. Always we should focus on background as well as our data. Always we should focus on our background, always based on text. These things are mandatory. And also simplifying the content is important. Less text. less text, more impact. So if you'll observe this poster, always there is a text. Is it necessary? Not required. As we discussed, in abstract you put 1 or 2 lines. What is your research question? What is your methodology? What is your findings? What is your conclusion? 4 bullet points. In introduction, you should put your question, research question. Direct, straight away research question. And methodology. What kind of methodology, what type of methodology you have followed, what kind of scale you have used, what kind of techniques you have used, what kind of tools you have used. You mention it. That's it. They are not going to ask why you have not mentioned this, that, etc. etc. Based on your poster, they will focus based on your poster, they may ask some questions. That's it. If they are finding any doubts, then only they will ask. Otherwise, if your poster is good, you have presented very well, nobody is going to question you. If you are thorough with your subject, if you are thorough with your topic, then present easy.